to this session. In this session, we are going to have the same topic, number 8, a case of suspicion. There we have got grammar and compositional exercises. Today, I am going to take you to the writing skill, because writing skill is also a part, and in the examination you have to write. So you should have an intensive training or incentive you should take intensive interest, and you have to practice. So here we are going to have this topic. In general, report writing is an important skill which can cover a number of topics. Maybe it may be science or journalistic or of general interest. Whatever you are going to convey to the people, or if you want to share your experiences, and you have to report it. Some characteristics of the reports are what you should take care of. So number 1, they are always factual. They are always based on the facts. Imagination is very, very little. That is why it is classified under non-fictional prose. The information is verifiable. For example, if you are writing about anything, that can be verified. Yes, is it true or not? So, this quality must be there. The information is verifiable. And the third one, they are aimed at people with specific interest in that area. And for example, if you are particularly interested to know more about electronic gadgets and other things, so you have to just restrict your report to that only. So you are going to meet the specific interest of the listeners and readers. And here usually the passive form of the verb is generally used. So you please be aware of that passive voice. So most probably, you have to use that passive voice. Now let us discuss on reporting experiences. Here, what is an experience? Anubhava. What is that? All of us keep having some experience or the other every day. Because, from morning till evening, we'll be doing so many activities, and we'll be meeting so many people, and we will be doing so many, participating in so many events. But how can one define an experience? How can you define? So, we can perhaps say that an experience is an event, is an episode that affects or influences one in some way. That is the purpose. In this lesson, you are going to learn about reporting or describing the experiences. The language that you need to use for describing experiences will be in the following areas. So, what are the things here? Expressing the past. For example, when you had been to your native place, how did you spend your time? So, you have to use what? Reporting complete actions, 1. Describing complete, reporting and describing complete actions, and describing thoughts and feelings, and using first I in reporting personal experience, and you have to use active voice, and sequencing the past using all forms of the past tense. So when you are going to narrate whatever you have experienced, you have to depend upon past tense, and you should know past simple, past continuous, past perfect tense, past perfect continuous. All these things, you should have that just sketchy knowledge of the past tense. Using linking as sequencing device. Linking, what do you mean by that? So I was very, very thirsty. And as I was walking on the road, I found a bore well. Oh, then I had to stop. I had drunk enough water, and thus my thirst was over. Like that, you must be able to use the linkers or so that you can sequence your your narration. Now a passage is given. What is that? This passage where R.K. Narayan, is a great Indian English writer, writer of Malgudi Days. Perhaps you must have heard on about Malgudi Days on your small TV screen and also big screen. And he describes his experience as a small child watching a lamp lighter lighting up the street lights. So this experience is of when I was a young boy, I saw how the street lights were lighted. It was a manual one. And here our R.K. Narayan is going to describe that event and that experience. So what is that? This paragraph describes a scene in Madras. Now it is called Chennai in the early 20th century. It was exciting one day to be asked to go with my uncle to the street of shops. I clung to his arm and marched along. Have the scene. And whenever you are reading, you must have that picture before you. Then only you can enjoy. It was the evening hour. It's about between 5 and 7. I noticed a man with his hand and shoulder stuck through a bamboo ladder, going from post to post, lighting the street lamps. And in nowadays, there are no any street lamps and only buttons are there and the lights will be on. But in those olden days, there were particularly shaped lamps were there. They used to put the oil and they had to clean that. In that way, it is something like that, like a topi and having a crown. And it was, and if you just ask your parents and grandparents, they will tell you. But here it is the experience of our R.K. Narayan. The lamp posts were few and far between hexagonal glass shades on top of cast iron pillars. Iron pillars and the top of that. So something like this, hexagonal glass. The lamp lighter was an old man wearing a khadi coat and a blue turban, equipped with a ladder. So he used to carry the ladder, bamboo ladder, a box of matches, rags for cleaning it, and a can of oil. These were the 4 things: ladder, box of matches, rags, and can of oil. He moved from pillar to pillar. Notice how succinctly he describes that situation. Unhurryingly, no hurry. Very, very calmly, without any hurry, he was doing that work. I was fascinated. Really, this man is wonderful. I had never thought that there could be so much to do to light up the dark nights. He did not know. Our R.K. Narayan was a very small boy and he did not know all these things that have to go in. Clinging to my uncle's fingers, I watched him because he had got the fear of being lost. That is why he was clinging, holding that fingers like this. Now, He went up his ladder slowly. Who? That, like the man. He went up his ladder, opened a little ventilator. It was a glassy one. He took that ventilator, took out the lamp, cleaned and wiped it with the rag so that the glass would be what? Very clear. Filled it with oil, lit up the wick, batti hachida, and closed the shutter. Climbed down, thrust his shoulder through the ladder again and passed on to the next one. Again he just took that and went to the next one. I had numerous questions welling up within me. He wanted to ask so many questions. All sorts of things I wish to know about man. And was very much attracted by that lamp lighter. His name, where he came from. Usually small children will have so many curious questions. He wanted to know all these things. If he slept wearing the ladder, because he used to carry the ladder always. So he had that doubt. What he ate and so forth and so on and so forth. But before I could phrase them properly, I had to be moving along with my questions unuttered. He wanted to ask, but there was no time. He had to walk along his uncle. So all the questions that he had in his mind were unspoken, were unuttered. You see how beautifully, succinctly he puts in the form of words his experience. Here, now let us analyze the passage. The writer uses past tense throughout. Why? Because it was his past experience. Number 2, there is a description of what? Number 1, the street lamp, description of an object. And the lamp lighter, description of a person. And how he lighted the lamps, description of a process where sequences of actions are very important. So these 3 aspects. And the third one, writer expresses his thoughts and feelings about that experience. It is his thoughts. So he wanted to ask so many things, but he was not able to do that. So in this way, this is an example of what? Describing our experience. And if you have these things, you must develop the habit of writing. Here, the expression, you see, using the words are also, using the words, appropriate, apt words is also very remarkable and important. The expression, what is that? It was exciting. I was fascinated. You see the words? Fascinated, attracted. Convey his feelings. And a lot of thought in the form of questions come to his mind on watching the lamp lighter lighting the lamp. About that man. There is a feeling of disappointment expressed. What is that? How did he express his disappointment? I had to be moving because he had to go with his uncle. Yes, along with my questions unuttered. So you see the word. I had to be moving along with my questions unuttered. So this is how he expresses his disappointment. So in this way, you must be a perfect observer. And you must remember all those things. You have to record in your mind. And in your tranquility, when you are alone, you have to bring back. And you have to give what? Dresses. That is language to your feelings and description. Now, another example. How to report. The day is the day I stood and became a man. Another experience of some other man. Recollect the definition of experience and read this paragraph. Have you got all these points in your mind? Now you read it. I reached the door. Then don't ask them, who is this I? Anybody who has experienced it. I reached the door of my home, sweating not from exhaustion but from fear. In that way, he entered his house. It was not because of exhaustion, but fear. I opened the door. A calm feeling came over me as I sat down. One more day. This was the first day. He had afeared of someone, of some people, of something. I had escaped it. But no more would I run or hide. First time, he had to hide himself and he had to run away. But this time, he did not run away. I would stand and be a man and fight. The next day, as I walked to school, out from behind a tree, the bully came. A person who always threatens the people. So, you may find those people, So, that kind of man, he was much worried about him. But this time, he wanted to face. And we stood face to face. All right. First time, he had run away out of fear. This time also he wanted to just frighten him, but he was not frightened. And he also stood there face to face with that bully. Then he swung and I swung. He also began to swing and he also did the same thing. We stood face to face. He was also seeing. Fear ran through my body. No fear. Then he swung and I swung. As blood ran from his nose by that act, my fear turned to courage. That is your experience also. But then something happened. The fight stopped. We stood like that for a minute. He was also seeing me and I was also seeing him. No words were said. Then he smiled and I smiled. Is it not the experience, everyone? The paragraph begins with a sense of fear. And then a decision is taken. And finally there is a sense of satisfaction and happiness. These kinds of experiences become an unforgettable part of one's life. Anybody's life, anybody who has undergone this life's process and experiences has to have. So, there is a small exercise for you. What is that? You have to do it whenever you are mentally free and interested to write something, record something. Describe in about 100 words a pleasant childhood experience. You can attempt writing on any one or all the three ideas given here. What are the three ideas? The day I was declared the best student of my class, it may be this event. Number two, the most exciting family gathering in my grandmother's village. And the third one, on my 14th birthday. It need not be true, because when writing, you have to add certain extra things. So how was your birthday? So birthday celebrations are there, family celebrations are there. Now you have to just recollect, enjoy, and then what? Record. Now remember what you should remember. Remember what? Write in the past tense and sequence the happenings. It's a must you have to do. Write about your thoughts and feelings during the experience. Take any one of the three or anything, any event that happened in your life that caught your imagination, that caught your joyous mind, like that, you choose from that what previous experiences and whatever the things that you have in your mind about the past. Yes, now another important stage is here. This is a passage, second one, that you are going to read now, which describes the landing of Armstrong and Aldrin on the moon. So it takes you to that event where these two had gone to moon. This is written in present tense and the third person. Read the whole passage once, then rewrite the entire passage in the past tense and in first person. Imagine you are Neil Armstrong. So it is given here. This is the second one. It is Sunday, 20th July 1969. The American astronauts Neil Armstrong and Edwin Aldrin in the Eagle landing craft are slowly dropping down towards the surface of the moon. Towards the surface of the moon. They glide over the rocks and craters until they see a clear and level space suitable for landing. Down it was coming until the feet of the eagle gently touch and settle on the moon's surface. Through the crackling radio comes Armstrong's voice. So, his next paragraph. Descent engine stopped. Override switched off. The eagle has landed. Very smooth touchdown. We are in the middle of a wide oval plain about 8 miles by 3 miles with some hills in the horizon. Large number of craters about 5 to 50 feet across. Why tick is given? So they have omitted as they are not important. Every variety of rock here, not much color, mostly grey. It is beautiful. So they are narrating their experience. Later, the two astronauts climb out and walk on the surface of the moon. Noon or moon? Moon. They kick up a fine, powdery, dust-like charcoal that sticks to their boots and clothes. It's the same thing. So you have to choose proper words. They plant a flag but without air to make a breeze. It hangs limply, limply, and there is no sign of water or any form of life there on the surface of the moon. The sun glares out of a black, cloudless sky. Far away, the earth shines blue and white. During a long moon day, the temperature rises to 1180 centigrade but falls to nearly 1130 centigrades at night. So, in their clumsy spacesuits, the astronauts find some movement very difficult, but the low gravity helps them to bounce and hop about like kangaroos. They scoop up, these two astronauts scoop up specimens of rocks and dusty moon soil from the surface to bring back to Earth. Besides sending back pictures by television, they take color photographs and cinefilm. The next paragraph, soon it is time for them to return to their spacecraft to prepare for the long journey back to Earth. One reporter has reported this experience of two astronauts, and behind them in the dust they leave their footprints, a reminder of how men first walked upon the moon. This is the narration of the astronauts event by a reporter. After reading these things, you have to what? Rewrite it as if you are the astronauts. So, how is it? I shall just give you one example. Here, it is Sunday, 20th July 1969. How you can say? It was Sunday, 20th July 1969. So, the American astronaut Neil Armstrong and the landing craft are slowly dropping. He is the Neil Armstrong, I and my friend in the Eagle landing craft were slowly dropping down towards the surface of the moon. You have already read the passage wherein you have got that experience of the two astronauts reported by the third person. But now you have to think yourself as Armstrong, and you have to use in first person I, and also in the past tense. So you have to adopt all the things for reporting. Prepare a report as if you are Neil Armstrong and just narrating that report. Thank you. That is your assignment. Okay.